I'm Anne.
And I'm Monica, and this is the episode where we listen to our blog.
Oh, yeah, she always let me listen to my blog.
I hate that line
I was
so
like,
much.
Girl, what?
No, that was, okay, yeah. If you couldn't already tell. Welcome to a new episode of Roasting Movies by the Fire. I feel like it's been a long time since we did one of these.
Been.
I don't even remember what the last, probably Love and Monsters was the last one we did.
Oh my gosh, you're right. The fire's been roasting for a long time and we haven't put any marshmallows in it. Oh my goodness.
Well, this, oh my god. This episode has been a long time coming, actually.
Yeah.
Like, we've been wanting to do this episode for like a year now or something.
Pre-COVID.
But then.
Pre-COVID, no.
Yeah, the movie was delayed. And then when the movie actually came out, we had some trouble coordinating actually watching it because, you know, it wasn't in theaters. We're busy.
Mm-hmm.
But we finally got around to it, and we're finally doing this episode.
Yes, you're welcome, guys. We know you've
So
been
if you couldn't
waiting.
already tell, I know. We've been waiting. You probably had no idea that we were trying to do this episode for so long. But if you couldn't already tell, today's Roasting Movies by the Fire is for the movie In the Heights.
In the Heights. That's
In the Heights. Yeah, it's, if you haven't heard of it, I'm sure you have by now. It's the new Lin-Manuel Miranda musical adaptation. It's based on a Broadway play. This was like Lin-Manuel's first like musical before Hamilton. In like 2009 or whatever, and then it finally got made into a movie.
Yes, it did.
And it's and it's about, well, I guess we'll just jump right into the little recap of the movie. If you haven't seen it, do we recommend people actually go watch it before though? That is the question. We'll find out at the end of the episode.
Okay.
But this recap will contain spoilers, just so you know. So essentially this movie set in the Heights, obviously. Which Heights, you may ask? Not Applewood Heights. that's for sure. Washington Heights in New York City, which is a predominantly Latino neighborhood. Or at least it's set in, well, In the Heights is a big neighborhood, but it's set in a like Latino block.
Yeah.
Essentially. And we follow this guy named Usnavi. And he is like, it starts out when he's like telling stories to like these children, and he's kind of like telling the story of Washington Heights and how a block almost disappeared or whatever. And then like we're counting down to like this blackout. They just said like 3 days till blackout. So it's like a super hot day in the summer, and Usnavi owns a bodega, which is like a little grocery store, in case you didn't know. And you know, he's just introducing the neighborhood. His cousin, he works with his cousin at the store, his little cousin. He has a crush on this girl named Vanessa who works at the salon down the road, and he has like his friend Kevin who works at the taxi company, and he works at the taxi company of this guy named, what's his name? I forgot his name. Nina's dad. Whatever. I forgot her name.
I thought his name was Benny.
Oh, Kevin is. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Benny is the friend. Kevin is the dad.
Okay.
I was like, Kevin doesn't sound right. Yeah, Benny is Usnavi's friend who works at the cab company, and it's Kevin's cab company.
Got it.
And Kevin has a daughter named Nina. So we open up. We're introduced to the block, the neighborhood, whatever. And Nina is like, the movie starts because Nina is coming home from university. She went to Stanford University. She's like the one who made it out of the block or whatever, and she's like clearly stressed out for some reason. We don't know why yet. And she had a thing. She used to date Benny, and then they broke up. And then she goes to her dad and tells him that it's too late to pay the tuition for next year, so she can't go back to school next year. And he's like, no, don't worry, like we'll figure it out. So we also meet more of the salon ladies in the block where Vanessa works. There's like 3 of them. I don't remember their names.
No.
But there's these 3 ladies. Carla, I think, is one of them. And they're like, they have to move their salon to the Bronx because they can't afford to live in where they are. They can't afford to have their salon there anymore.
Yeah, basically gentrification.
And then, you know, and all the ladies are at the salon and they're gossiping and whatever. And then Nina comes in, and then she eventually tells them that she dropped out of Stanford. So she's obviously very like ashamed of that, I guess, because she was supposed to be the one to make it out, but she couldn't do it and she dropped out.
Yeah.
And Vanessa, meanwhile, is trying to get an apartment downtown because she wants to be a fashion designer, I guess. But you know, she's not able to get an apartment. Like she keeps getting rejected, whatever. And Usnavi finally asks her out on a date. They decide to go to a club later that night.
Yeah.
So the little cousin Sunny, they're about to go swim at the pool because it's a summer day. He finds out that their bodega sold a lottery ticket for $96,000. So everyone is like freaking out. Everyone's like, oh my god, I want that money. And meanwhile, Nina and Benny are like reconnecting together, and he's trying to show her like, you know, this is your home, we're your family, all that stuff. And there's just like a lot of things happening. There's a lot of characters, so there's a lot of just things that are going on. And all this is happening. While all this is happening, Usnavi's goal, he doesn't want to stay in the Heights. He wants to move back to the Dominican Republic, where he's from, because he wants to reopen his dad's little like beachside bar type of thing. And he wants Sunny, his little cousin, to come with him, but once he asks his dad like if he can bring him with him, they kind of like imply that they're undocumented, so they can't leave, or else they won't be able to come back. So there's also this lady named Abuela, who's like not actually anyone's grandma, but she's like the old lady of the block who kind of helped raise all the kids. So she's kind of in this story as well. And before they go to the club that night, everyone kind of gets together at Abuela's house for dinner. And then Kevin's, like the dad, says that he sold his business so that he could pay for Nina's tuition. But she refuses. She's like, no, I'm not taking your money. I don't remember if she actually reveals to him that she dropped out, but she basically tells a story about how, you know, when she was there, she faced like some racism and stuff like that. So that's why she just couldn't do it. And she's like, I felt so out of place, etc. So she didn't come. She didn't want to go back. So then they go to the club. They end up at the club for their date. Everyone is at the club. Usnavi and Vanessa are on a date, but then Usnavi's super nervous and he tries to like act cool and he's like, no, I don't want to dance with you or whatever. So like Vanessa goes and starts dancing with everyone at the club because all the guys are like obsessed with her or whatever. And he's like finds this other girl to dance with, and they're all just like, there's like this huge dance number. And then the blackout happens. The blackout that we've been counting down to. So at the club, the lights go out and everyone's like, there's like chaos and everyone's just trying to go home. And Sunny and this guy called Graffiti Pete, who's literally just like this dude who is around the neighborhood who does graffiti, they're like lighting up fireworks to help illuminate the neighborhood and everyone can get home. And Vanessa and Usnavi are arguing because she's like, you weren't even like, we were supposed to be on a date and you kept ditching me or whatever. And he's like, what do you mean you were ditching me? And then they like separate. So then they all go back to Abuela's house to keep her company because it's dark, and remember it's really hot out, so there's no air conditioning, everything's dark. And Abuela has like a dream or something, like she kind of I guess she's like lying in bed because she's all like heat exhaustion or whatever, and she's having like a dream, and she sings about how she came from Cuba to New York and all the stuff she had to go through, and then she dies in her sleep, which is really sad. She dies in her sleep, and they like literally see her and they call the police and everything, and then they have like a little funeral for her. And basically Sunny is like, you know, he's like he's a little protest kid. He's like trying to fight for, you know, things to be better. And they're at a protest for DACA, which is like the dreamer thing in the US, you know, the whole thing where if you come as an illegal immigrant as like a kid, you can get citizenship or whatever. He learns that he's not going to be able to go to college because he's an undocumented. So Nina like has an epiphany and she's like, I need to go back to college. I guess it's like a weird epiphany. She's like, wow, you can't go to college? That sucks. I'm going to go back to college though. So she's like, okay, I'm going to go back to college. And then she tells her dad and she's like, I'm going to try it again. And
I guess she's going to become a lawyer. I guess that's what they were insinuating.
Yeah, I think it didn't really explain it that well, but I think she was implying that she wants to go back to college so she can help other people.
Yeah. Undocumented people.
Sorry. So then, Usnavi finds out that Vanessa got like rejected from her apartment, and then he asks Daniela, who's one of the salon ladies, if she can help Vanessa get an application, or help her apply for apartment.
You need a co-signer who like makes a lot of money,
exactly.
basically.
And the whole block is like sad because everyone's moving out, the blackout, no power, everyone's just like, and Abuela dying, and everyone's just down in the dumps. And then Daniela like rounds up the whole neighborhood and has this big celebration, even though there's a couple people like Sunny and Vanessa who are like, how can you guys celebrate? This is like so much, everything's changing, this is like a sad time, we shouldn't be celebrating. But everyone's like, nah, we're gonna party. They're partying. And then the power comes back on, and Vanessa and Usnavi like rekindle makeup.
Yeah.
So then it's like a month later, it's like the end of the summer, Nina is going back to Stanford, and her and Benny also like are involved romantically now. And Usnavi is ready to go back to the Dominican Republic. I think I did mention this before, but he decided he's moving back to the Dominican Republic. Like he was, no, but before he wanted to, but now he's like, it's set in stone. Like he booked his plane ticket and everything. I think he announced that at the party. So that's what he did. So it's the end of summer. He's packing up all his stuff. He's ready to go. Nina's leaving. And Vanessa finds out that Usnavi helped her get the apartment, which she ended up getting and moving downtown. So she goes to like say thank you to him. And she's telling him like, you know what, can you stay? Like, I don't want you to go. And she's like, he's like, what do you mean? Like, I'm literally leaving. And she's like, no, I don't want you to go because I have feelings for you, essentially. And then Usnavi is going through his like old stuff, and he finds out that Abuela actually was the one who won the lottery ticket, the $96,000. And she left the ticket for him. So he's realizing now that he can afford to stay, I guess. So he decides to stay. And Vanessa surprises Usnavi with the help of Sunny and Graffiti Pete. She kind of like redecorated the whole bodega, like made this big mural, like this big Dominican Republic mural on the wall, and then she put some of her like clothing designs in there and like a fashion line or whatever, stuff like that. And he's like, okay, I'll stay. So then it returns to the story, goes back to present day where he's telling the story to the little kids. At first, we thought he was telling the story to the little kids in the Dominican Republic. So we think that he actually ended up moving, but it turns out it's not actually Dominican Republic. It's the mural in the bodega. So he's actually still there. And one of the kids he's telling the stories to is his daughter, his and Vanessa's daughter. And then they're just talking about, we're so happy to be here. They go outside, all the kids are playing in the block, and they're like, he's like, I'm home.
That's how it goes. Wait, one correction. He gave all his money to Sunny, so he like paid off his lawyer.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, because he was paying the 96. He gave it to the lawyer so that it could cover all his fees. You're right. And then he said put the rest in savings for Sunny to go to college.
Yes, that's true. That did happen. I get confused because I'll talk about this more later, but it's different from the musical.
Yes, it is. It is.
But so then he gives all the money to Sunny, and he's like, okay, we're staying. And then he's like, I'm home, and then that's it.
Yes.
That
is the movie. Wow, eloquently recapped.
Very bad recap, but it's okay.
It's all good. Okay.
The gist of the story.
Yes.
There.
So now, guys, this is the part of the episode where we go into what we liked and what we didn't like. And then we'll have a little discussion. And then we'll give it a grade at the last part of the podcast. So, all right. Let's get into it. I guess I can go first because you just talked, right? So, I'll go into what I liked, right?
And then I'll tell you what I liked, and then I feel like what we don't like is going to take a lot longer to explain.
Probably go into the discussion. What I liked the songs. Obviously, I feel like they were good. I had listened to the soundtrack beforehand, like, just like, you know, when I listened to it anticipating to go see it in theaters at the time, so it was like a long time ago that I was listening to it. But I know that not all of the songs made it in necessarily, which is normal for any adaptation and stuff. But I liked most of the stuff. For the singing, you know, I'm always going to critique the singing. I thought most of the singing was good, though. I didn't have any, problems. Like,
I think the good thing is they cast people that were actually singers.
Exactly.
I don't think anyone in this cast was actually, like, those people who are actors and they're like, I'm going to be in a musical. And it's like,
exactly.
Okay, no.
I hate
like, they all have, like, experience singing, which is good.
So all of them could sing, rap, whatever they need to do. So I was happy with that. I was even like, even with Stephanie Beatriz, I was like, can she sing? Because she's actually just like the girl from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I don't know if you her.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I was like, can she sing? But she, she did her thing. She didn't really have to sing. She was still like a side character.
Yeah, her character doesn't sing too much in the musical, anyways. Like she kind of just does that little talking thing,
which is fine. I have no problems with that. So I like the songs. I like the visuals, like literally not the visuals. I guess I should say the choreography. The choreography was really well done, especially the 96,000 and all the water. Basically, I like the choreography. And I enjoyed the twist at the end. The twist of like, you think he's in DR, but he's not. Even though I knew about it because I had read about the play in general, so I knew what happened, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I basically knew how it ended, so I had an idea. But still, I didn't know how they were going to go with that in the movie specifically, so I thought that was well done. So those are the things I liked about it.
Okay, yeah. So honestly, I put the exact same things for the things that I liked. So like I liked the music and like the songs and just like how they were performed, I guess. And I liked the choreography as well, like the musical numbers. I was gonna say, like, I really liked also 96,000, and I liked the carnival scene. Like in general, and I like the visuals as well, like they had little like animations and stuff like that sometimes, like, which was kind of fun. And yeah, like that part of it was good. But yeah, like I mostly like the musical numbers, and that's honestly what made me like think that I really liked the movie at first when I watched it. Like when I first watched it, I was like, oh my god, that was so good, because I was just focusing on like the musical numbers. But then like as I sat with it and like watched, because I watched it twice, as I watched it again, I was like, oh, I'm finding a lot more problems with it now.
I feel like that's kind of like an easy effect for any musical I watch at first. Like if the songs are bomb, I'm gonna love it the first time. I just feel like,
yeah, like they weren't bad or anything. I just have a few suggestions, but anyways,
the 96,000.
Yeah, I just mostly the thing I liked, the only things I liked about it were the musical numbers. And even then, like I liked the big musical numbers, like the club, or like the specifically, okay, I think the three that I specifically liked were the 96,000, the club, and the carnival one. The ones that aren't like the big choreographed ones were very forgettable to me, but those ones.
No, I agree. Yeah. Wait, which was the carnival one?
The carnival one?
Forgetting about that one.
Carnaval.
Yeah. What is it? When the one where they're in the back, like
it's like towards the end when they have all the flags and everyone's dancing, and then
yes.
Yeah,
that one. It's, where they're all
the song's called Carnaval del Barrio.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah, those three I think like carried the whole movie for me. Like without those, I probably would have like hated it.
Yeah, I agree. I also like the beginning song. Was
it In the Heights, yeah.
Just Usnavi's song, like when he's doing most of the stuff.
Yeah,
right?
It's called, the song's called In the Heights.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I
like that one's pretty good too.
And it's a good way to start. Like that's what
I'm saying. Like anything that was like big and choreographed was very well done.
Yes. But I agree, the somewhat solo-y-ish songs
were so forgettable to me.
So long too.
Yeah, the one especially where Benny and Nina. First of all, I guess this is a slow transition into what we didn't like.
Yeah, to what
Benny
we
and
like,
Nina did not need 2 songs.
No.
Like
for what?
In the musical, that's a different story. But in this movie, they literally had 2 duets where I was like, okay.
About what?
And the fact that they had 2 duets, but then they cut out some other songs just made it even worse. Because I'm like, you cut out all these other songs to give them another duet. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me.
Right, and they also cut out like a big plot point of them, which I'm like,
oh yeah, we're gonna talk about the plot in a hot minute right now. But anyway, so big musical numbers were good. The ones that were solo, totally forgettable. So that's the only thing that I liked about the movie was the big musical numbers, essentially, because of the choreography, the visuals, and like the music.
Like choreography was on point. I cannot lie.
Yeah, it was.
Like I said, splashing in the water, I'm gonna love it.
Yeah, exactly. I thought also the salon scene was pretty like good, just because maybe I thought because it was pretty accurate to the musical, like the whole salon scene, like that's kind of how I imagined it. No me diga, but that's it. So I guess we can go into what we didn't like.
Yeah,
I have so many bones to pick with this movie.
I feel like we're gonna overlap anyway, so I'm sure we'll piggyback off each other's things, so we could just kind of maybe we could each say one thing we didn't like.
Okay, yeah.
Because I feel like it'll be too, like, you know, mismatchy with the same thing. But I'll start with my one thing. I didn't like, which we kind of alluded to, that they cut out a big part of Benny and Nina's arc, which was that Nina's dad was disapproving of Benny because, well, the excuse was that he's not, I guess, Puerto Rican, not Latino, but also it's because he's black specifically, which I felt is accurate. Like, there is a lot of
like even in the musical, it's not, he doesn't explicitly say it because he's not black, but he just says, because he's not Latino, but it's kind of alluded to the fact that it's because he's black.
Exactly.
And I think this would have been such a good opportunity to address that. And they just completely scrapped it.
Yeah, I feel like, even though, like, and it happens all the time, even though a lot of, especially in the US, a lot of Latino and black communities kind of intertwine, there's still a lot of, like, animosity between the cultures. So it's like, it would have been interesting to explore how a lot of the kids are brought up to, like, be with each other and, like, around each other because they literally live on the same block. But then the parents still kind of expect them not to mix, which is, like, how? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, we can be friends with them, but we just cannot, like,
well, I just think too, like, it added, that's kind of what their arc was about, was that, like, it was like a forbidden love type of thing. But then in the movie they just took it out, so I was like, okay, what's stopping them from getting together? Nothing.
It was literally just like, long distance, like, okay, that's not strong enough for me to feel like, you know, feel enough emotion towards them to have two songs. Let's just say that. I just think,
in general, with Benny and Nina, I feel like they just completely messed up their characters, in my opinion. In the movie, I hated what they did with their characters. They made them so boring. Nothing interesting, and, like, the only sort of interesting thing that happened was when Benny, like, saved the cab company during the blackout.
That was really dope.
That was nice, but like it didn't matter because nothing else happened with them at all. They were literally just there to be there.
Yeah, I feel like with their real arc, especially he's not Latino, but you see him, like, working hard at the car place, like, that scene would have been more impactful. Like,
like in the musical, there was more scenes, like, around that. Like, basically, if you didn't know, in the musical, technically Usnavi is the main character, and Usnavi and Vanessa are, I guess, by extension, the main couple, quote unquote. But in fact, Nina and Benny in the musical are the main couple. They're the main romantic storyline of the musical. And in this one, it's like they're totally, like, their romance is, like, background to everything else.
It's literally, like, bland like a piece of toast, bro. Like,
like, they just had the one song where he's singing in the park, or in all the parks, saying, "Oh, this is your home," whatever. Yeah. And then next minute they're singing together on a balcony, and then they kiss, and then that's it. Like, we don't even see how they reconnect at all. Right?
And the song is so meaningful. Like, he's like, everything's brighter when you're here, and I'm like, I don't see that with y'all though. Like,
yeah. Real, like. So I definitely agree with that. I just hate what they did with their characters. And then I guess that kind of goes into what I was gonna say, where it's just in general the plot of the movie, like, they changed it. Like, I understand changing plot points to fit, like, an movie adaptation, course, but I just hate what they did with those changes. Like, the changes that they made were not the right ones, unfortunately.
What other changes did they
there's actually a lot. So Abuela's storyline was also completely changed. Like, she's not supposed to die during the blackout. She dies, like, after the carnival in the musical. Okay, got it. Like, the carnival is happening in the musical, and then it's interrupted by the fact that she dies.
I got it. Okay.
So she's supposed to be dead after that. Like, she dies towards the end of the movie. But in the movie, they kind of kill her off in the middle of the movie. So I feel like her story arc is literally just cut off halfway through. I see what you're saying. Because she's a big, like, part of when Usnavi decides to go back to the Dominican Republic, like that. She's very involved in that whole, like, part. Yeah. And then also when she's revealed to be the winner of the lottery ticket, I think it's, like, way earlier in the musical, but in the movie it doesn't happen till the end. That I kind of get because it's, like, suspense or whatever, but I feel like in the movie, by the time we find out that she was the lottery ticket winner, it's, like, so far away from, and, like, you kind of forgot about it. And, like, you literally forgot about it by that point. You're like, oh, right. Because, like, in the musical, she's the one who tells Usnavi, I actually won the ticket. Yeah. And in the musical, she splits it 3 ways. She's like, I'll take a third, you take a third, and Sunny takes a third.
Oh yeah, and then she talks about like what she's gonna do with it, but then she ends up like dying before she can.
Yeah, she's like, I'm gonna take some, and I think she said she wanted to go back to Cuba or something like that,
which was in the movie
and then,
too.
Yeah, and then she tells Usnavi, here, this is the money to take you back to the Dominican Republic. And then Sunny can take the rest, and like I guess that was just for him. But also in the musical, Sunny is not like he's not undocumented, he's not on DACA or anything like that. So they added that in the movie, which I don't mind per se.
No, I think that's good. Especially it's more, the musical was a long
it's more
time
relevant
ago.
To,
yeah, like so.
Yeah, because this movie is set in 2000. The musical is set in 2009. So but I guess for the movie, like I kind of not sure if I wish that the movie was also set in 2009. I feel like it could have been interesting if like the movie was set in 2009.
I think the only thing that's like the biggest, which could be a point of discussion in terms of all movies, there's been such like a huge shift in stuff that's happened from like, you know, just in these past 20 years, like from early 2000s all the way till now, that like certain things that you think don't matter really do. Like things like that you think like, oh yeah, that would have been an issue back then. It's like, no, that actually was not popular. Like even, for example, this has nothing to do with the movie, but like for example, the Black natural hair movement, right? In my head, I'm like, oh, like if I was doing a character like that I wanted, if I wrote a story about a character that was like my age when I was a kid, and I'm like, oh, she's gonna have like natural hair because that's what I have right now. But it's like back then that was not cool. Like people would have probably made fun of you for having that. It's like small things that you don't realize that would have like nuance back then. And I feel like that's a big thing with 2009. Like a lot of things that we think would be like obvious to us would actually not work. And I think it's harder now rather than like, oh, let's make a movie set in the 90s and it's like very clear what would be happening right then. But like movies set in like 2009, people feel like they were just there. Like people are like, oh, it's like the same, but it's really not. And there's a lot of things that wouldn't like translate over. So I feel like there has to be maybe even a little bit more time. Like I feel like by 2025 or whatever, that's when you'll see a lot of like throwback stuff to back then, because people will be able to acknowledge like the huge time gap. But I think people feel too close to 2000s to like realize.
Yeah, that I get. I think it's just because the musical was made in 2009, so at the time it was set in the present day. Sure. And then I think like when they adapted it, like I guess I feel like they weren't sure whether they wanted the movie to be set in 2009 or in like present day, so they kind of just like mishmashed them together and was like, oh, it's technically set today, but they're not going to use their phones, no social media, no internet, like you know what I mean? Like
they didn't really choose that properly. Yeah, you're right.
It's just like a weird like thing. But anyways, my other problems with the plot. There's so many problems with this plot. Also, I feel like I'm surprised you didn't bring this up.
What?
They killed off Nina's mom in the movie.
Oh, okay. So that's what
in the musical, Nina's mother is very much alive, and she is a very important character.
That's what I was like,
because she is like the one that convinces the dad to like see Benny for who he is. Like basically Nina's story in general in the movie was just so bland and so like unclear. Like they're just so unclear of what she was doing, why she was doing it. Like in the musical, both her parents are important characters, and like they have their own songs and everything. Like, and
okay,
I was so shocked.
I was like, it was a long time since I saw or like listened to the whole thing, so I was like, I feel like something's missing. And when her mom wasn't there, I was like, was her mom dead?
I was
like,
literally shocked.
Really
I had no idea that they killed the mom off when I watched the movie, and she's like, the dad just showed up, and then she was saying, oh, like whatever, my mom, I miss my mom. I was like, wait, what? Where's the mom? She's supposed to be there. Like literally they just, I don't know why they did that, because the parent, that's what I'm saying, that kind of ties into how they just threw away Benny and Nina's whole storyline, because even then, like also the blackout kind of scene, like where everything blacks out, that's like the intermission point in the musical. So after that scene ends, that's like when it's intermission, and that scene is supposed to end with Benny and Nina like finding each other in the dark, and then that's like their first kiss or whatever. Like that's what I'm trying to say, where they're the main romantic couple in the musical, but in the movie they just totally like toss them to the side, because like it's supposed to be about them getting back together, and then also like Usnavi and Vanessa, like at the end they get together. Like that's like a whole other thing.
I barely remember like from when I listen to the musical, like the whatever, I barely remember Vanessa and Usnavi being a thing. Like,
the whole thing with Vanessa and Usnavi in the musical is that like he's literally oblivious to it the whole time.
Yeah.
And then like at the end she comes in and she's like, oh, I didn't realize before, but I actually do like you. Yeah. But the whole musical is like Benny and Nina kind of getting back to like to each other or whatever.
Yeah, star-crossed lovers type vibe. Yeah.
Yeah. So like they just kind of threw out that whole thing, and like I don't know, they just messed up a lot of plot points, and I just don't think they were the right choices because it didn't make sense to me at all. And like they obviously added in the whole thing with the kids and the whatever storytelling with the kids and how he has kids at the end. Like I kind of get why they added that too, but in general, I just don't know if I like the changes they made to adapt it into a movie. That's all.
Yeah, no, I agree with that too. I did forget about Nina's mom. I'm not gonna lie, but I remember. Yeah, I did forget about Nina's mom, but like I forget how involved she was. I didn't realize that, but I did know she was alive. Like I was like, I don't remember her mom being dead. Like I don't remember that being part of her. Yeah.
No, yeah, she was like the voice of reason, kind of. Like she's the one who kind of ended up convincing the dad, like to like, hey, like we need to give our daughter a chance. And I just remembered another thing too. The circumstances surrounding Nina dropping out was also completely changed because I thought it was super. Yeah. I don't know. Obviously, I can't speak to this, but like I thought it was kind of unrealistic that she dropped out because of like a couple of incidents that she had. Because in the musical she drops out because she literally cannot afford it. No, because she can't afford it. Because she basically what happens is she when she was going to school she had to get a part-time job to help pay for like stuff, and then her grades ended up slipping because she had to work. She lost her scholarship.
Yeah, that's what it was. Okay.
That's why she ended up having to drop out because she literally couldn't afford it. But then the way they made it in the movie was like, oh, first she lies and says, oh, we missed the deadline, and then she said, no, I just dropped out. But then like that's the whole thing. And in the musical the dad is like, okay, I forgot if he ends up selling the business, but he's like, just like we'll help you go back. Like that's basically what it is. Like in the musical she doesn't drop out just because she's like, oh, I felt out of place and whatever. And she literally was like, no, I lost my scholarship, so we like
which
can't
also
afford to
speaks
anymore.
to it is just weird because okay, let's say she felt out of place, why wouldn't she transfer? That just seems like a really simple
like that's what I'm saying. Like you just decide that college is not for you. Like you can go. There's colleges in New York.
Yeah,
you know
like
what I mean?
Stanford sucks, so then you can go to NYU, hun. Like it's really not that wild, you know?
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. My main problem was with Benny.
Yeah, what they did was crazy. No, now that you're bringing up all this stuff, I didn't remember everything, but I do remember, her reason. I thought it was the grades specifically. I thought she wasn't doing well grades wise, but that makes more sense in terms of like juggling all that. But I remember, like literally in the musical, she's like, she lost her scholarship, so she can't afford to go there anymore. No, I remember it was like, I remember in the musical, she's like, I let everyone down because like I couldn't do it. Like I remember it was more like everybody thought I was the smartest girl ever, but I couldn't even make it there. Like that's what I remember the song being more about. Yeah. And this one, she's just like, I feel out of place. I'm like, honey, to drop out?
No, it's just, I don't know. In general, the plot lines were just very murky, and I don't know.
Yeah, it was weird. What else did I not like? I'm gonna be honest. Vanessa's character.
Oh yeah, also Vanessa.
She wasn't giving what she was supposed to have gave, and I don't think that's the actress's fault necessarily. I think she was given some weird material. I don't know how to say it.
Because like I think in the musical she's supposed to be like this like super sassy, like super like she's like a very sharp like person, you know what I mean? Like she's kind of just like she doesn't care what anyone is saying. She just wants to do what she's doing. Like they added the whole fashion designer thing into the movie, which I get, but like because in the musical she kind of just wanted to move downtown for no reason. She was kind of just like, no, I just don't want to live here. But like she was more like, I guess they tried to make her a little more like relatable or like softer, I guess, in the movie. But in the musical she's supposed to be this like girl that's like, the fuck, like I don't care about you, like
I don't know.
That's what made it funny in the musical number 96,000 when he's like, okay, what will you do? And she's like, if I win, like you'll never see me again. And he's like, damn, okay. Like it's more funny in the musical because that's just how she is, but in the movie it's just like, oh, okay. Right. Like it just wasn't as funny, you know what I mean?
Like in the musical I remember her being very more like dismissive, like, oh, like, I know he has a thing for me, but, like, I don't care right now, but, like, I do, but I don't.
Yeah.
That's why I was, like, also part of it was, like, why their romance to me was weird, because I'm like, was she just waiting for him the whole time to ask her out? Like, I feel like, and this is not even just this movie.
I don't know, like, that's the thing, like, they just, the storylines are just weird.
Because I feel like a lot of movies, too, it's not even just this movie, but a lot of movies when it comes to romances do a really bad job at convincing me why these people aren't just together. Like, I'm like, people get together under worse circumstances and, like, do things. Like, I'm like, you need to convince me that there's a real reason why they haven't gotten together yet. Like, whether it's, like, literally somebody doesn't know, like, that's fine. But, like, don't make it super obvious to everybody but them, or, like, it is obvious to them, and then they just curve them the whole time, because then it makes me feel like they don't like the person. Like, I'm like, what changed then? Like, what? Like, yeah, like, okay, what? Like, was Vanessa like, I'm just waiting for him to man up? Like, no, that doesn't seem to be the issue. Also, her apartment, okay, I don't understand that. So she doesn't have parents? They didn't make that clear.
Yeah, like, where are her parents?
Because they were like, oh, get your parents to sign it because they have to make this much over. I'm like, oh, I assume, oh, her parents are poor, I guess. But they never show her parents. So I'm like, are her parents dead? Like, I don't. Yeah. And then the fact that this, all he had to do was ask the salon owner. Like, she couldn't have done that herself. That seems like really simple to be like, hey, boss. Like, I literally have been working for you since day dot. Do you think you could co-sign me? Like, I don't think it's that weird to ask. Like, I don't know. I don't get why like, Usnavi would have a better time asking the salon owner than her herself. Do you know what I mean? Unless they, like, established that, like, she's the type to be like, I want to do it on my own. Like, she really... Right?
And that's exactly how she is in the musical. Like, in the musical, it makes sense because that's exactly how she is. But in the movie, they're trying to make her a little bit, like, more relatable stuff, but then they don't want to make her ask for help.
Which I'm like, ¿por qué? Why? Just...
But yeah, no, I think in general we can just agree that the plot in the movie was kind of
It was weird. Very weird. And you know what's...
Like, it seems like they put so much effort into the musical numbers that the plot kind of just got lost.
And you know what? That I feel like this is... I'm going to compare it to other musicals, like, movie musicals. For example, The Greatest Showman, right? I agree that it has the same problem similar problem as in, even though it doesn't have source material, that's why I feel like, no offense, In the Heights did it worse. Why? Because in The Greatest Showman, I was tricked long enough to think that it was good for a while. This one, I watched the first thing, and I love the musicals, but I could tell the plot was weird, like, immediately. Like, I was like, something's not clicking here. And it was like... And you guys have source material to work off of. That's what I don't understand.
That's what sucks. It's like you literally ruin... Well, I mean, like I said, the musical itself had some issues, but they just, instead of fixing them in the movie, they just made it worse.
It's like, if you have source material, like, editing is much easier than drafting, y'all. Like, I don't understand. Like, fixing something is much easier than starting from scratch. So I'm like, I don't understand why you would... It just can't be worse than the source material. That's my thing. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me in terms of plot, you know? So that was weird. The kids thing was fine. I think that was, I guess, like I said, movies love to do that. I've noticed that, like, for a lot of adaptations, including, like, Aladdin, for example, they love doing the whole, like, we're telling a story to a child. Like, that's their favorite thing ever.
Yeah. Because God forbid you're just telling the story.
Yeah, like, narration.
It's not like some flashback.
Like, alone. Like, that's for teenage girls, not other movies. Okay. But, yeah, like, I just didn't understand why that was, like, a choice made. But it was fine. It was fine. It made sense, I guess.
Yeah. Anyways. Yeah, and then I guess we can kind of transition into...
controversy.
Yeah, because I also kind of had problems with the cast. I'm not 100% convinced with the casting for the movie, unfortunately. I don't know. Like, I liked Anthony Ramos. I think Anthony Ramos was a good choice.
Yeah, right.
Ish. Like, I guess. Like, is it fair? I don't know. Like, could someone also have done a good job? Probably. Because, you know, I don't know if you know, but Anthony Ramos and Lin-Manuel Miranda have worked together for, like, a really long time. So, like... he kind of just got it through that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, was he a good person for the role? Yes. But, like, there was no chance for anybody else because like he was like Lin-Manuel Miranda and him were like besties or
which
whatever.
I don't think that's fine. I mean, a lot of people in Hollywood.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, I feel like it didn't open up the opportunity to maybe explore if anyone else could have done a good job too. You know what I mean? But the other casting, I still am like, I think Benny was a good choice. I liked who they cast for Benny.
Nice. Like, ugh.
Yes, I like Benny. Nina, I don't know. I liked her, but I feel like there was something missing.
This is really like not on subject, kind of, but her hair, was it a wig half the time? Because I was like, what are you doing? Like, it was just, I don't know. I don't like to like nitpick because I understand that sometimes it's actually really hard. Like, they don't actually, no, I can nitpick. Costume and design, y'all should have had that done. Like, you have, I don't know what she is. I'm gonna assume she's Latina if she's presenting as Latina in the movie, right? So you know what her hair does. So have it, like, I don't like when people with textured hair ever are on like movies and stuff and they look a little silly. How is that happening? Straight hair people get to come in and have 10,000 different tools to make their hair look voluminous, and then when you see them on the street they look normal. So I'm like, how come curly haired people come on set, get like ruined sometimes, if not, and then they look silly, but then like you could see them on their Instagram and they look way better. Like, I'm like, I don't know who you're hiring, but do it better. Like, I don't think it's an excuse anymore. But yeah, I just found her
I think also like I in terms of like she's a very good singer, don't get me wrong, because like she's a singer. The girl who plays Nina, like, she's a singer before she's an actress. But I feel like, I don't know if it was just like the way the voice was recorded, but I didn't really like when her song Breathe, like the first one that she sings. I feel like her voice didn't really sound that good in it. Like, it was very quiet. Like, I could barely hear what she was singing, I guess.
Sound, and this might be ignorant, I don't know. She doesn't sound Broadway to me. Like, it doesn't scream like...
Yeah, well, she's not. I don't think she is Broadway. I think that's the difference. Because she's like a singer.
See,
like, she
I don't
sings.
like that.
That's what I'm saying. I think that's the one thing I didn't really like. And like, I don't know if I liked Vanessa's casting either.
Vanessa
I don't think
was
she
also
embodied.
not Broadway to me.
I don't think she embodied Vanessa.
Like, I'm gonna be honest, the voice slammed them in terms of vocals. Like,
that's the problem. That's the problem. The girls' casting was a
what's
little.
What's his little kid's name? The cousin, Sonny.
Sonny was a great casting.
Oh my gosh.
Excellent. He did what he needed to do.
As soon as he started rapping, I was like.
Yeah, no, he was a great casting for that role, especially because in the musical, like, it's kind of hard to tell that Sonny's supposed to be a kid, because in the musicals they don't cast like children unless necessary. So in the musical he's like, it's an adult playing him, but he's supposed to be like his little cousin. So like, you don't really see that in the musical. So now you actually get to see Sonny as like a kid, which is nice. And it was really good. So that's I like that. I really
want to see him in more stuff. Him specifically.
No, he's really good. But yeah, no, the casting was weird, and then I guess it's a good time to talk about why the casting isn't weird too, because of the controversy.
You probably know more than me because you do better research, but I'm kind of
I do a lot of research on it, but yeah, I don't like to overstep though, because again, a lot of these conversations are not my place, I guess, to talk about, but I can just tell you the facts.
It's also because I'm not Afro-Latina
of what the
either.
controversy
I know
is.
that's a big thing, so I can't speak to as much about that either, but we're just gonna go with what has been
but I'll tell you the fact. So essentially the controversy arose because I don't know if you know this, but the real Washington Heights in New York is a predominantly like Dominican Latino neighborhood. But I don't know if you know a thing or two about Dominican people.
I'm Haitian.
Dominican people are, a lot of them are black,
if not
right,
like 70%,
if not most of them.
Okay.
Yeah. Like the Dominican Republic is a very large black Latino community. So, and specifically the ones in the Heights, like from people who lived in the Heights were commenting on this movie and being like, this neighborhood is a predominantly black Latino neighborhood, black Dominican neighborhood. So obviously there was like talk of how the movie essentially whitewashes the neighborhood. And I was talking about this with my other friend who is Latino, actually. And we were talking about it, and like the musical, if you have seen the cast for the musical, is honestly like worse. Like the cast for the musical is like very white. like, because obviously there are white Latinos, like there are Latinos who are like
white passing,
kind of white presenting, and they're black. Yeah, the ones in the musical are like very white. Like I know Nina in the musical was like super white. But yeah, so people were concerned because they're like, this is not really an accurate representation of what people in the Heights look like. And like it could basically, like they were basically saying like, yeah, the movie could be seen as like whitewashing because there is like very little or actually no black Latino representation in the movie.
Or they're like not talking,
despite the fact
there's no speaking roles.
Like all the black, like I think that's what I was gonna say. So the only black people that you could see were like background characters or like dancers or whatever, not any of the actual main characters. And like someone could argue, be like, oh well, in the musical none of them are black Latino either, and it's like that's the problem. Like, you know what I mean? Like it goes back to the musical and how it was already not an accurate representation,
especially
at all.
Like for people who don't know, as soon as the beginning of the movie when Usnavi gets up and he's like, I'm from the DR, I was like, oh, I was shook because like I said, I'm Haitian, so literally DR and Haiti split an island.
The same island.
Okay? The literal only difference between Haitians and Dominicans is the colonizers. Okay, so and their colonizers just did more mixing. So that's it. That's the only difference. So a lot of them. There's a lot of Haitian immigrants. There's a lot of undocumented Haitian immigrants in the DR, and some people can't even tell they're Haitian. Why? Because there's like barely a difference. Like some of us,
exactly. Like I know someone who is Dominican and is not black. So like they do exist. Yes. Like I'm not like obviously they exist, but the problem is that in the Heights specifically, it is a large black Dominican population. Like one especially, like there's an actor Jerome.
No, I
don't even know him. He was in what's that show? What's the one called? He won an award for it. He won an Emmy. The Central Park 5, I think that's what it's called. Not the movie, but it's the movie about the Central Park 5.
When They See Us.
Jerome.
Yeah.
When They See Us. Yes. He is black Dominican. He's an actor. And he's also a rapper. So like there was talk about like whether he could be Usnavi too. He's a little young though, but you know what I mean? Like people were just saying like there are other, that's why I was kind of trying to imply with like Anthony Ramos, where I was like, I feel like there could have been opportunity to find someone else. But, you know, obviously Anthony Ramos is extremely talented. I really like him. Like, if they had him there, and then if there was more representation for black Latinos,
that I feel like fine. Because he doesn't not play the part he looks like he could be.
No, he does a really good job. Like,
I'm saying like talented. Even for looks, he could definitely be from the I don't think anybody's arguing that. It's just like the rest, like you're gonna have everybody else. But you know what, I think the movie almost tried to explain their whitewashing, if you think about it, because all of them were not like, they almost implied that Usnavi is like one of the only people from the DR in the neighborhood, because they kept
see, that's also what people were trying to say, where it's like that's technically how it is whitewashing though, because like the neighborhood is mostly Dominican, but they added all these other like characters who are, you know, Puerto Rican,
Colombian,
when in the case it's not that much, like, you know what Peruvian, I mean, like it's like he made all the main characters like the, you know, Peruvian, Cuban, all that stuff, when in reality the neighborhood is actually mostly black Dominican. And people were saying like, you know, like again, just saying the facts here, but there are a lot of other like large communities in the Heights that are not Latino. Like I know people are saying there's a really large Chinese community in the Heights. So I feel like it could have been a good opportunity to explore that as well. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that's just what people were trying to convey, where the movie had this opportunity to have more representation, and it was not there.
I mean, I can understand how sadly, like for example, the other like communities like the Chinese and all that stuff probably wouldn't get involved as much, because he is 30. Like if he was a kid in high school, you would be like, the classroom has to reflect what the classroom would look like. But if it's an adult and they're doing their own thing specifically, you can kind of have the argument. However, he's specifically from DR, which is, you know, predominantly, or let's say at least half of the population, if not more, is Afro Latino. Like, so it's just it's weird. I don't know. It was weird. Like, it was starkly evident in my face. Like, I knew people were talking about it, and I didn't understand that Usnavi was from DR. Like, that never really clicked until I watched the movie. I knew people were saying, where's the Afro Latino representation? And I was like, okay, yeah, I agree. Like, they should do more. But I didn't realize how much they had, like, how inaccurate it was. You know what I mean? Because there's a difference between, hey, we need more representation, and then this is just inaccurate. That's the difference between whitewashing and, like,
exactly. That's, I think, the main problem, where it was like, it's quite literally inaccurate. Like, and that's the issue, where it's like, you purposely exclude, like, the main demographic of the people that actually live
because
there.
There's a difference between like, oh, a movie set in China and then there's like a bunch of white people there. That's like, okay, that's whitewashing, versus like, we're bringing an Asian American person to the cast. Like, those are two different, like, things. This was like, DR has a very big specific looking population, and you've managed to wipe them out almost completely from the movie, which is insane.
Yeah, because even the sheer fact that the main character is the only person from the DR is, and even weird.
Like, he had his DR moment, like in the Carnaval song that you're talking about, and there was like nobody there. Like, you know how like each person had their corner, like Mexico had their thing, and then he was the only one holding his little DR flag with, I guess, his cousin Sonny, but I don't think Sonny's even from the DR. I don't think did they say that? I don't know.
I think they, because they're cousins.
Are they?
So
I knew. Sure. I thought he said they were actually.
Because he said that on the plane. He said that on the plane, Sonny was like in diapers.
Oh, okay. So he knew that. I thought he was just saying that.
I'm pretty sure they
like,
all came together.
Whatever.
No. I'm pretty sure they're actually.
Oh,
like,
okay.
Related.
I thought they weren't because he lives with Abuela, so I just thought like, you know,
because his parents are dead.
But I would think like, why doesn't he live with Sonny? In my head, that was just what I thought. If they were like actually related.
Oh, I guess. Well, because we saw Sonny's dad as like an alcoholic.
But then I'd be like, they should just all live. You know what I mean? Like, I just found it weird that they're separated.
Yeah. No, I get it. He's an adult though. Maybe he wants to live on his own. I don't know. Yeah. Whatever.
No, for sure. I thought it was like, that's me putting my own thing. I'm like, oh, play cousin. Like, you know, because I copy everybody.
I guess it also doesn't help too when you cast people who aren't even Dominican. Yes. And then you say that they're Dominican, where it's like, okay, like the least you could have done was cast someone who's actually
because it's like, I'm not even like on that necessarily, but it's like, y'all have two and they're both not, and then you're not gonna have a bunch of other real Dominicans. Like, that's weird. Like because I'm not gonna say like, oh, for sure, if you're playing a certain role, you have to be exactly of that nationality.
Yeah, no. I think it just like, it kind of adds fuel to the fire, where it's like, on top of the fact that you don't have like that representation, the people you casted to be the representation aren't even Dominican.
And it's like, you should have like, some. Like, that's my rule of thumb. If you're gonna do like,
I think the only Dominican person in the whole movie is Kuka.
Who's that?
That one girl, the one who was from Orange Is the New Black.
Oh, the one who was twerking all the time, eh? Yeah,
and she is like a new character. They literally added her. Like, she's not in the musical, so it kind of feels like they just like threw her in, which kind of sucks. You know what I mean?
She wasn't providing anything. She was just there for like supporting cast.
So that's about it. I would say, I don't know. Like I said, I was just gonna relay the facts, but I know Lin-Manuel Miranda did like, quote unquote, apologize. I don't think it's necessarily something it's not like something you have to apologize for. It's more like, why didn't you do it? You know what I mean? Like, you can say sorry, but it's like, sorry for what?
And I guess, you know, I don't like apologies. I just like, I mean, I shouldn't say that, but I guess I'm more like action. Like, just come back with the new thing. Yeah. Like, just do it. Like, I'm okay with that.
Because I'm sure, like, because people are saying, like, this is not the first time that people have called it out. Because, like I said, the musical's been out since 2009. I'm sure he's heard it before. So it's like, at this point, like, what are you apologizing for? You already made the movie. It's already done. Nothing much you can do. It's more just like, hey, you have to understand that you did this. So
it was weird.
You got to figure that out.
And what's Vanessa's nationality? Sorry, I just forgot. Yeah.
Vanessa? In, like, the actress?
The character.
Or the character? I don't know if they mentioned it, but I'm like pretty sure it's Mexican. Okay. If they did mention it, I know the actress is Mexican. Yeah. But
interesting.
I'm not sure. Also, the actress is kind of like on the same subject, but the actress was like talking about it in an interview. Like there was an interview that was done where the interviewer was like a Dominican person, and like the interviewer brought up the controversy surrounding the representation, and just the actress that played Vanessa just had the worst response. I forgot what it was. Shoot. But like she was essentially just trying to be like, well, I was better for the role, so like something like that. It was just weird. Like I remember like watching that and I was like, girl what that has nothing to do with
you though. She didn't attack you.
Like she was just kind of being like, oh well, we had a couple black people in the background, so like I think that's what she was basically trying to say.
I think I heard about it, and then the interviewee was like, okay, well I hope that one day we can be more than just like background people and actually like talking.
It was just very weird. So yeah, I guess we'll just end it off at that. We have to give it our grade. So what would you give this movie?
I'm gonna say, like, controversy aside, literally just looking at it as like an art piece, and I can still comfortably say I would give it like a B-, because I think the songs were good and like the choreography was really. It feels like it was half baked. That's what it is. Like you did really well. You spent all your time on music and choreography. That's great, but you forgot to flush out the plot. Actually, like it actually feels like you threw it in last minute. Like you were like, shoot. So I'm gonna give it a B-.
I gave it a B, so I'm pretty much on the same page. Or I just felt like it was kind of just like you had some good musical numbers, but if you actually sit and think about the plot, you're just like, what? Like it's just it didn't
and it loses really work, more points for me when you can't make me really into the couples. Okay, because I will give a lot of points if I'm shipping the couple hard. Okay.
Well, that's the thing in the musical. Like Benny and Nina are like a cute, like they're an interesting couple. They have a scene that's like after the first scene after the blackout, where like you come back from intermission, is them like basically waking up together in his apartment, and then they sing like a cute little song when they wake up, and it's like so cute, and it's like there's actually a couple to root for or whatever. But in the movie, it's kind of just like, hey, like every time their musical numbers come on, I'm like, I can't board. Like, are you done yet?
Them again, and that's messed up, man. That's messed up.
Also, what I was referring to in the beginning, we're just like, shh, let me listen to my
gosh, that was
what does that even mean?
That was just too. I'm like, you want to stunt your chemistry and then just listen.
No, like that whole there's just like just weird things, like cringy things happening, and
I mean, the first time I was like, okay. The second time though, I was like, yeah. I was like, baby, twice. I was like, what are you doing? On your balcony, like you could hear it. Let him speak to you.
Just like let me listen to my blog.
Oh my gosh,
like it's just weird. So it's like a maximum B for me.
It was like
I just think it could have been better. A lot of things that could have been better. I would say go watch the musical, but. Like, I guess the musical is good. You know what I'm going to suggest to you? I would suggest you go watch on YouTube. No, if you go on YouTube, there are a bunch of like high school productions of this musical, and I think they're actually really good.
But yeah, you should do that.
And like a lot of them are just very very diverse, like, you know, because it's high school. So,
the castings are. That go to the school. My friend did a hairspray casting where Link was Asian. It's pretty funny. It's cool. Yeah.
Exactly, like that's what I'm saying. Like I would go and watch like a high school production in the Heights musical, because at least you get to know what the actual musical plot is, and also you can watch it in like good quality, because you don't want to watch like a shitty bootleg of the Broadway cast. Like I would say just go watch a high school production of the musical. It's actually like a decent musical. Like it's pretty interesting. And that's what I would suggest for you.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in to this episode. And remember to subscribe, give us a good review, follow us on Instagram at FlickChicksPod. You already know the drill, you already know the dealio. And we'll catch you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.